You want peace in life. Start by silencing the noise. I'm not talking about the kind of noise you can block with headphones. I'm talking about the noise that's been living in rain. Free in your mind. The opinions of people who don't even matter. The doubts that keep repeating like a broken record. The pressure to keep up, measure up, and never mess up. That's the noise stealing your peace. Don't confuse movement. And if you don't learn how to mute it, it'll run your life. We've gotten so used to constant input, constant scrolling, constant comparing, that we don't even realize we've forgotten how to sit with ourselves. When was the last time you sat in silence, real silence, and listened to what your own soul was saying? Don't confuse movement. We're surrounded by voices telling us who we should be, what we should have. Don't confuse movement, where we should go. But the most important voice, your own inner voice, is being drowned out. You see, peace isn't about escaping the world. It's about finding stillness within it. You can be in the middle of chaos and still be calm if your mind is anchored. But to get there, you've got to shut off the world. Sometimes you have to unplug from the noise of likes, comments, deadlines, and opinions. Not forever, just long enough to hear what actually matters. Long enough to hear yourself again. Some of us are so busy chasing approval. Don't confuse movement. Trying to prove something. Don't confuse movement. Trying to be something for everybody, that we've forgotten who we are when everything's quiet. Don't confuse movement. That's why we don't feel peace, because our identity is scattered across too many opinions. You can't find peace in confusion. You won't find clarity while living in chaos. So you've got to clear the room, quiet the distractions, make space for the voice that truly leads you, not the one that feeds your fear. And I'll tell you something that most people won't say. Peace requires boundaries. Not every voice deserves access to your ears. Not every energy deserves a seat at your table. Some people speak only to stir the storm inside of you. You've got to be wise enough to walk away, strong enough to say, no more. That's not pride. That's protection. Don't confuse movement. That's peace. Now, this doesn't mean you run from life. It doesn't mean you isolate and call it healing. No. This means you choose what feeds you and what drains you. Don't confuse movement. This means you pause before reacting. This means you stop letting every opinion shape your worth. Don't confuse movement. You are not everyone's version of enough, and that's okay. What matters is that you're at peace with you. Peace also requires practice. It's not going to happen in one deep breath. Don't confuse movement. It's not going to come just because you want it. You have to train your heart to seek it every day. Don't confuse movement. Maybe it's 5 minutes of silence in the morning. Don't confuse movement. Maybe it's putting the phone down at night. Don't confuse movement. Maybe it's choosing not to argue with someone who doesn't even want to understand you. Little decisions over time build a life of peace. And here's the truth. Peace is powerful. When you really have it, nobody can take it from you. They can talk. They can criticize. They can doubt. But if you've silenced the noise inside, nothing outside can shake you. You stop being reactive. Don't confuse movement. And you start being intentional. You move from survival mode to purpose mode. And that shift, that quiet, strong, centered shift is where peace lives. So if you want peace, don't chase more. Don't run faster. Start by going quiet. Start by turning the volume down on everything else so you can finally hear the one voice that matters most. Yours. Peace will never stay in a place where control is the master. We spend so much of our lives trying to force things to happen, trying to predict, fix, manage, and manipulate every outcome like we're holding the whole world together by the strength of our own hands. But the truth is, the more you try to control everything, the more peace slips through your fingers. Don't confuse movement, because peace doesn't live in control. It lives in surrender. We think if we can just organize it all perfectly, plan every step, protect ourselves from every possible failure or hurt, then maybe, just maybe, we'll feel calm. But life doesn't play by your rules. It never has. Don't confuse movement. And the peace you're after won't come from certainty. It will come when you finally accept what you can't change and stop exhausting yourself trying to fix what was never yours to fix. Don't confuse movement. There's a kind of freedom in saying, I don't know what's coming, but I trust I'll handle it. That's where peace starts to grow. Because control is rooted in fear. Fear of the unknown. Fear of loss. Fear of being powerless. But peace is rooted in faith. It says, even if it doesn't go my way, I'll be okay. Even if I fall, I'll rise. Even if it changes, I won't lose myself. We don't realize how much energy we waste trying to manage people's thoughts about us. Don't confuse movement, trying to steer every conversation, every relationship, every opportunity. Don't confuse movement. But peace doesn't come when you've got everyone agreeing with you. Don't confuse movement. Comes when you know you're walking in truth and you no longer need the world to validate your path. Don't confuse movement. You can't control how they treat you, but you can control how you respond. Don't confuse movement. And sometimes the most powerful response is letting go. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop carrying what's too heavy. Don't confuse movement. It means you trust that what's meant for you won't miss you. And what isn't meant for you won't stay no matter how tightly you hold it. Don't confuse movement. It means you give yourself permission to breathe again, to live again, without the weight of every outcome chained to your happiness. You weren't built to carry the weight of the world. That pressure you feel, it was never yours to bear. That's why you're tired. That's why your spirit feels heavy. Because peace cannot live where control runs the show. So it's time to release it. Release the need to be perfect. Don't confuse movement. Release the need to have it all figured out. Don't confuse movement. Release the need to fix what you didn't break. When you finally stop controlling, you create space. Space for healing. Space for growth. Space for growth. Space for unexpected blessings. And most importantly, space for peace to enter. Because peace won't fight you to get in. It waits for you to open the door. This doesn't mean stop. You stop planning. It doesn't mean you stop caring. Don't confuse movement. It means you release your grip. You stop forcing things that don't flow. You do your part and then let life do its part. Because sometimes peace you want is just on the other side of I let go. Peace lives in surrender, not because you gave up. Don't confuse movement, but because you gave in to something greater. You trusted that life has a rhythm and that not everything needs your hands on it to work out. And when you can finally say, whatever comes, I'll be okay, you start to feel a calm rise in your soul. Don't confuse movement. Feel peace. So, if you're still searching for peace, don't confuse movement. Ask yourself, what am I holding onto so tightly that it's costing me my calm? And then ask yourself the harder question. Don't confuse movement. Am I ready to let it go so I can finally be free? Because freedom isn't always in getting what you want. It's often in releasing what you never needed. You can't talk about peace and hold on to anger at the same time. They don't live in the same house. You say you want peace, but you're still carrying that hurt, still replaying the betrayal, still holding on to what they did like it defines you. And maybe they did hurt you. Maybe they never apologized. Maybe you never got closure. But hear me clearly, don't confuse movement. You won't find peace until you forgive. Not for them, but for you. Forgiveness isn't weakness. It's not letting someone off the hook. Don't confuse movement. It's not pretending it didn't happen. It's not erasing the past. Forgiveness is simply saying, this pain doesn't get to run my life anymore. It's choosing to stop bleeding over what cut you years ago, because peace begins where resentment ends. We think holding on gives us power, that if we remember every detail, keep the anger alive, we're somehow protecting ourselves from being hurt again. But what you're really doing is building a prison. But what you're really doing with you on the inside, that anger that flares up when you hear their name, that bitterness that creeps in when you see them succeed. Don't confuse movement. That knot in your stomach when you think about the past, that's not strength. Don't confuse movement. That's a wound you've refused to let heal. And peace won't live in a wounded heart that refuses to close. Now I know it's not easy. Some wounds go deep. Some scars still ache when you touch them. But if you wait for the pain to disappear before you forgive, you'll never get free. Forgiveness isn't a feeling, it's a choice. And you may have to make that choice more than once. But every time you choose forgiveness, you choose peace. Don't confuse movement. Every time you release the grip, something inside you heals. Don't confuse movement. There's a strange thing about holding grudges. Don't confuse movement. We think we're punishing them, but it's us who pay the price. Sleepless nights, heavy hearts, distracted minds. Don't confuse movement. We're stuck in a moment they've already moved on from. Some of the people you're angry at haven't thought about you in years. And here you are. Don't confuse movement, losing peace over someone who doesn't even remember the weight they left you with. But what if peace isn't found in being right, but in being free? Don't confuse movement. What if you could stop letting the past interrupt your present? What if peace isn't in waiting for an apology that never come, but in saying, I release this not because they deserve it, but because I deserve to breathe again. Peace is light. It doesn't carry heavy bags. And unforgiveness is heavy. It slows your steps, clouds your mind, and hardens your heart. It turns your past into a prison and your future into a repeat of what you never healed from. You don't need that weight anymore. Let it go. That doesn't mean you allow people to hurt you again. Forgiveness isn't permission to return to what broke you. Don't confuse movement. It's permission to rise above it, to walk in peace while others are still walking in pride. Don't confuse movement. It's the strength to smile, not because it didn't matter. Don't confuse movement, but because it doesn't control you anymore. And when you forgive, you take your power back. You stop being a victim of their choices. You reclaim your joy. You open space for peace to do its healing work. Because where forgiveness flows, peace follows. It may not be instant, but over time, you'll notice the tension ease, the anger fade, the weight lift. So if you truly want peace, ask yourself, who I need to forgive? Maybe it's someone else. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's both. But whoever it is, release them, not for their sake, but for yours. Because peace isn't something you find while carrying chains. Don't confuse movement. It's what happens when you set yourself free. Don't confuse movement. Peace isn't something that just happens to you. It doesn't fall out of the sky and land in your lap. Peace is something you build, something you fight for with discipline, because your mind is a battlefield. And if you don't take charge of what you let in, it will be ruled by every distraction, every fear, every thought that doesn't belong to you. Real peace doesn't come from avoiding conflict. It comes from having control over what lives in your mind. You can't expect peace while letting chaos run wild in your head. You can't scroll endlessly, compare constantly, listen to every opinion, and wonder why you're anxious. You have to be intentional. Every day, you have to train your thoughts the same way an athlete trains their body. Don't confuse movement. That's how peace is built, not through wishful thinking, but through mental discipline. You wake up in the morning and choose your focus. You guard your peace like it's treasure, because it is. You don't let every notification dictate your mood. You don't let one wrong comment, one bad moment spiral your whole day. That's discipline. That's the work. Because peace isn't passive. It's power under control. And just like any other training, some days are harder than others. Some days, the negative thoughts are louder. The insecurities are heavier. But the doubts creep in quicker. But that's exactly why discipline matters. You don't wait until your mind is calm to practice peace. You calm your mind because you've practiced it. Some of you are feeding your chaos without even realizing it. You're repeating narratives that don't serve you. I'm not enough. I'll never get there. Nobody understands me. And those thoughts, left unchecked, become beliefs. Don't confuse movement. They shape your emotions. They steal your stillness. But when you discipline your mind, you start to speak back. You say, I am enough. I'm doing my best. I don't need everyone to understand my journey. This isn't about pretending everything is okay when it's not. Don't confuse movement. This is about refusing to let pain be the only voice in your head. It's about creating space for hope even in the middle of hurt. It's about making peace louder than fear. You'll never be able to control everything outside of you. But you control what happens inside. That's your responsibility. Don't confuse movement. That's your power. Because once you start disciplining your mind, peace becomes a habit, not a rare moment. And when peace is a habit, don't chaos loses its grip. That's when you stop reacting to everything. Don't confuse movement. You don't let every little thing shake you. You don't need to prove anything. Defend everything, or fix what's not yours. Don't confuse movement. You've trained your mind to stay still even when life gets loud. It's not easy, but it's worth it, because nothing changes your life like a calm mind. A mind that doesn't rush to panic. A mind that breathes before it speaks. A mind that pauses before it spirals. That kind of peace gives you clarity. It gives you strength. And it allows you to show up for your life, not just survive it. So if you want peace, start with your thoughts. Start with that inner conversation that plays in the background all day. Start replacing judgment with grace, fear with trust, anger with understanding. It won't happen overnight, but with every small choice, every thought you reframe, every moment you pause, instead of panic, you are building peace. Don't confuse movement. You're teaching your mind that it doesn't have to follow every storm, that it can stand still. And that stillness, don't confuse movement, that discipline. That's where peace begins. Don't confuse movement. There's a kind of peace that doesn't come from silence or stillness. It comes from purpose. Don't confuse movement. Because when you know why you're here, when you wake up with direction, don't confuse movement. Peace follows you. It doesn't mean every day is easy. It doesn't mean you never feel doubt. But even in the struggle, you carry a quiet confidence, a deep sense of knowing, because your life has meaning beyond the moment. Too many people feel lost, not because life is hard, but because they're living without purpose. They wake up every day just trying to make it to the end of the week. Just surviving, going through the motions, chasing comfort instead of calling. And comfort will keep you busy, but it won't keep you fulfilled. It'll distract you, entertain you, even numb you, but it will never give you peace. Don't confuse movement. Peace comes when you stop running from yourself. Don't confuse movement when you stop trying to be like everyone else. Don't confuse movement when you stop comparing your lane with someone else's speed. You weren't born to copy. You were born to carry something the world has never seen before. Don't confuse movement. And once you start living from that place, that inner fire, everything changes. Your mind gets quieter. Your steps feel lighter. Not because life got easier, but because you finally got aligned. Don't confuse movement. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take the next step with intention. And sometimes the piece you're missing isn't because something's wrong with your life. It's because you've been ignoring what's right within you. That quiet pull, that nudge in your spirit, that dream you've buried under fear, it's still alive, and it's waiting for you to give it room to breathe. Don't confuse movement. Purpose doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be big. You don't need a stage or spotlight to matter. Sometimes purpose is being faithful where you are. Loving your people. Don't confuse movement. Building your craft. Serving with consistency. Showing up when it's hard. Purpose is less about what you do and more about how you do it. It's about living from a place of conviction instead of convenience. When you find that, when you lock in on your why, peace follows naturally, because now you're not moved by every storm. You don't need every voice to approve you. Don't confuse movement. You don't chase temporary validation because you're standing on eternal value. That's peace. Not the absence of struggle, but the presence of something deeper that holds you steady through it. Even your pain can serve a purpose. Some of them fuse movement. Some of the things you've gone through weren't just for you. Don't confuse movement. They shaped you. They softened your heart. They gave you wisdom you couldn't learn from books. Don't confuse movement. And now that wisdom is meant to serve others, to lift someone else, to speak life where you once only knew silence. That's purpose. Don't confuse movement. That's peace. And don't let the world rush you. You're not behind. You're being prepared. What's for you won't pass you, but it will require your participation. You've got to show up. You've got to take that next uncomfortable step, not because it's easy, but because it's who you are now. So if peace feels far away, maybe it's time to ask, not what am I doing, but why am I doing it? Am I living from purpose or just existing on autopilot? Don't confuse movement, because the moment you step into purpose, distractions lose their power, opinions lose their weight, and peace, that deep soul level peace, becomes your new normal. Don't confuse movement. Purpose doesn't just give you direction, it gives you peace. And that peace is your anchor in every season. Sometimes the peace you're searching for doesn't come from what you add to your life. It comes from what you walk away from. Don't confuse movement. You've tried more. You've tried noise. You've tried distractions. But peace, don't confuse movement. Peace comes when you learn the quiet strength of walking away from what no longer serves you, from what drains your spirit, from what forces you to shrink, to bend, to constantly explain yourself. That's not peace. That's survival. And you weren't born just to survive. There's power in knowing when to let go. There's wisdom in knowing when to stop pouring into something that only leaves you empty. It could be a toxic relationship. It could be a place that no longer fits who you're becoming. It could even be a version of you that you've outgrown. The one who was always scared to speak up. The one who settled. The one who kept peace with others while losing peace within. You don't owe anyone a lifetime membership to a place that breaks your soul. It's not quitting. It's alignment and Sometimes peace is about protecting the space around you, even if that means being alone for a while. Don't confuse movement. You have to stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to choose yourself. Don't confuse movement. Peace begins when you decide your well-being matters. When you stop arguing with people committed to misunderstanding you. Don't confuse movement. When you stop watering dead soil and expecting fruit. You walk away not out of bitterness, but out of self-respect. And yes, it's hard. It's uncomfortable. Letting go can feel like losing. It can feel like failure. But peace will cost you your comfort zone. It will cost you familiarity. It might cost you relationships that once meant everything. But what you gain in return, clarity, healing, don't confuse movement. Wholeness is worth every step away. Sometimes walking away is not weakness. Don't confuse movement. It's the most courageous thing you can do. You have to ask yourself, what am I tolerating that's robbing me of peace? What cycles keep repeating because I'm too afraid to break free? You can't create a new season while living in old patterns. Don't confuse movement, and you'll never find peace trying to please people who are only at peace when you're small. Don't confuse movement. Walking away doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care deeply enough about your soul to stop forcing something that's already fallen apart. It means you no longer carry the weight of what you didn't break. And it means you believe peace is possible, even if it means stepping into the unknown to find it. Don't confuse movement. This is the part no one talks about. Peace requires sacrifice. Sometimes the thing standing between you and peace isn't a lack of motivation. Don't confuse movement. It's the presence of something or someone you were never meant to hold onto this long. Don't confuse movement. But because you've held it for so long, you think it's part of you. It's not. It's just familiar. And familiar doesn't mean right. Peace comes when you trade what's familiar for what's true. Don't confuse movement. And truth always leads to freedom. When you walk away from what no longer aligns, you're walking toward peace. Don't confuse movement, even if it feels like loss in the moment. Give yourself permission to leave, to heal, to grow. Let them misunderstand you. Let the past be the past. You don't need closure to create peace. You need courage. So, if you're still waiting for a sign to let go, this is it. Protect your peace. Honor your growth. Walk away. Not because you're done. Don't confuse movement. But because you're finally beginning. Peace doesn't chase. It waits on the other side of brave decisions.